Final Fantasy Randomizer. Welcome back to the OJ Power Hour. That's right, we're back for episode 2.
They let
I
us
am
do it
looking forward.
again.
I know,
How?
twice. Shocking.
How? What?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm thinking to myself, are we gonna get a second episode? Are we gonna? And I
I,
was like, yeah, we did. Look at that. So,
I
as you know,
know.
I am Oslodo, joined by my good friend Jay Scheidel. We're back again
You.
for episode 2. Jay, what you been up to recently?
Oh my
How's things
goodness,
been
this week
going?
has been absolutely crazy. So, just lots of behind the scenes stuff, a lot of making sure that this thing is ready to go and just move forward with everything we've got. So, we've been putting in
Yeah.
a ton of planning with this. I think last time I checked, we're at like 30 potential guests or something. We're going
Oh,
crazy.
we got a list of stuff that's coming up for you guys, and tonight we got a great show lined up. We got two great guests coming up, the Duckling Dons themselves, SNL, Saracen, and LuffyDV. It's going to be great. We got some questions for them, and you guys submitted some questions, and we're going to get you some answers. This is going to be a knockout show. I am looking forward to this.
But
Now, little confession here.
uh-oh.
Um, we do have our ad breaks as per normal, but it's really sad. Apparently, somebody ordered a Warmac Security Services,
Mhm.
and he didn't get it in time. And,
It
and unfortunately, we lost all of our gil, so we couldn't
so
afford to pay the voice actors. So we
yeah,
have
so
to
we
wait
just got to
another week.
rerun the old ones.
Don't you worry though. Don't you worry. We do have the Warmac on its way, and I assure you, in the next couple of weeks, tons of new stuff, tons of new ads will be there.
But until then, let's get our guests up and get you guys some Wormek. Here we go.
Every day, in every dungeon, countless chests are opened and treasures removed, rooms entered and items stolen. Theft is up, your GP and items are at risk. It can and will happen to you. How do you feel safe? How do you take back the power? Warmech Security Services. Warmech Security Services are now offering the well-known Sky Castle experience to you, the home user. Now your treasures can be protected by the powerful War Machine of Lore. You want thunder, you've got it. You need a Cure 4 to clean up those fiends, we can provide. For a limited time only, you get to choose the armament of your personal robot of terror. Act now and we will throw in, free of charge, Stone Touch. Your death robot will have a chance to create your own Light Warrior Garden statue. You're not going to get that anywhere else. Crime is up. Trap tiles will not cut it anymore. Peace of mind is just a nuclear away. Call Warmech Security Services and get the robot you need at the price that's right for you. Warmech Security Services not available in all areas. Company not liable for damage to property or neighbors. Not approved for protection of families or children. Do not use Warmech as a flotation device. Warranty void upon opening of the mech.
Well,
Alrighty.
we are back, and boy, am I excited! We are joined on stream by my fellow Bubble Soda co-runner Saracen and LuffyDV himself. Gentlemen, happy to have you on. Really great to have you guys on here so we can talk some derby.
What's happening?
How you doing tonight?
Hey.
So yeah, so I noticed that both of you at one point had a duckling icon of your own. That means you both graduated from the program. So what's the history of that? Like, let's go back when you guys first were ducklings. I assume it was a whole different world back then.
Hey, funny story. I actually never got one of the ducks.
What?
I I only have the platypus because of the fabulous score that I got in 2022. I want to say, where I got 4th place in 3 consecutive races, for second place overall with 69 points.
Okay.
It was 2020, December 2021, and I'm not still bitter for having to forfeit the final against him at all. I still don't give him guff for that whenever we talk.
Yeah, it was a while back. All right.
Yeah.
Uh, and how about you, Luffy? I noticed you have your Metroid Ducky, so that means you must have graduated as well.
I did, yeah. Shout out to Dark Moon for melding, two of my favorite things, being involved in the Duck program for Final Fantasy and a horrifically ugly Metroid into this wonderful icon that he has that is on every one of my Discord servers that people ask me about. I'm like, don't worry about it. It's wonderful.
It is. It is. So, before you guys took it over, was there a Duckling program, or did we just kind of throw the new players to the wind and say, "You have fun with that"?
The Duck program's been around for longer than I have.
Yeah, same.
So that was a Moist Mogwai start years ago, and then Greg Lee Puff took it over and was in charge of the Duck program for a few years.
Yep.
Greg stepped down, and Dead Pulse was running it, and Luffy was running half of it. I just sort of interjected myself, and here I am.
Well, it's worked out.
Kind of how it happened with me as well. The planning channel, and I was an admin at the time, and the planning channel they were talking, and I threw my 2 cents in, and Greg was like, "Hey, you should be part of this too." I'm like, "Well, if you'll have me, sure." And then I just sort of never left.
I have a feeling that's how a lot of things get done. I volunteered and then I never left.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
pretty much it. Yeah.
Yep. But was there always a boot camp, or was it just here's your flags, duckies, have a good time?
As long as I've been around, there's been a boot camp.
Yeah.
So when Luffy, were you in the boot camp before the big one?
No, the 2021 January one that you're talking about, the big one, so to speak, was my first as well. I started watching the randomizer leading up to that, so I came in the Discord sometime after the July Derby, but before the 2021 Duckling Party.
So realistically, we're both, the COVID pets that everybody picks.
Yes,
right?
yes, pretty much, yes.
So that class was enormous. We had like 50 some people in it.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and we had a boot camp. It was 8 weeks with one class a week.
Yep.
And then the Derby to follow.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a combination of things there that the randomizer has grown a lot since then, but
Yes.
also the intentionality of the curriculum has improved a bit over the years.
Yeah, I would say so.
Totally.
There's always been a little bit of back end planning stuff to it, but also there's been some refinement. That's a thing that I pay a lot of attention to when we're getting ready for each year.
Yeah, there's a kind of a plan that Serisan sticks to of really teaching things in a certain order. Starting with your melees, learning the fighter, learning the thief, learning the black belt in that order, because that's kind of how you would progress as you learn the game. The fighter is your easiest melee, so you start with that one. Thief has gotten quite a lot of buffs and is relevant. That comes next, and then the black belt is a little more specialized in how you would use it. So obviously that'd be third. There's a whole thing that Serisan has that's very much structured, which has been really great. I like structure.
I've seen that lesson plan once, and it's crazy.
It may not surprise you to know that the flags for this boot camp were basically finalized like 4 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it.
I totally believe that. Totally believe that.
So you've just been involving it from what you have then, and just trying to add more things in, or what? How have you been bringing this up to date?
So there are a couple of concepts that I specifically ported over from last year's boot.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the biggest wild cards to throw in there is that we've had an ongoing tradition of having the spring tournament of old, or winter tournament now. Those flags are part of the Derby. They're part of the boot camp.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And winter tournament 2023 was very different than winter tournament 2024. And that changed up the lesson plan a bit.
Do we have to take some credit for that, Jay?
Shh, we don't talk about that. We're done talking about that. As long as the word Swiss doesn't happen, we're fine.
Well, yeah, yeah, we don't need anyone getting set off with that word because that came up a fair bit.
Oh,
So we kind of already get a partial answer to this, but because Luffy, you had said that you became a Duckling Dawn just by kind of hanging around the planning room and someone just saying, "Hey, you should do this."
Yeah.
Was it the same for you, Saracen? Just kind of like I was volunteering and now I'm in. Now I'm here.
No, this one's actually way funnier. So
Oh.
it was during the boot camp that so Luffy was running the Wednesday night streams.
Mhm.
Was it 2022?
I
think
believe
it had
so.
to
Yeah,
be.
yeah.
And he says towards the end of one of the streams, and who knows, maybe we'll have a special guest for next week. And I just messaged him, is it me? Am I the special guest? And then he couldn't get rid of me.
Yeah. That's exactly how it went down. Yeah. That might have been like one of the first DM interactions between the two of us as well. And now we talk like all the time. It was kind of funny that way.
Oh, love it for the
FFR.
memes.
Yep.
Oh, FFR bringing people together. It still does.
That's how it works, though. That's how I met my co-op partner. I just messaged him out of nowhere, and now I can't get rid of him.
Yeah. Fall League. No, I totally get it.
Hey, I got my co-op partner because Dark Moon can't tell the difference between me and Odoran. So you know what? It happens. It does happen.
Yep.
So I guess that leads right into this because you had brought up Saracen that because of the winter tournament structure, you had to make some changes. So yeah, any other changes that you kind of threw into the boot camp this year as compared to last year?
Or refinements or just little tweaks here and there.
Yeah.
You've learned something and changed it up.
So one of the focus areas that I have is making sure that there's content for both the competitive racing side of the community and the more casual, I want to try out different things and really exposing people to the different ideas that come up in things like Fall League, right? Like Fall League is where we put a lot of showcase items, if you will, for the randomizer, things that are new features, a little bit more experimental, a little bit crazier, because it's not quite as it's not held to that same competitive standard, I guess.
Right.
More like a bowling league. And so last year, I was very insistent on we had to do one reveal stream of Proc Gen. And so we did that, and Luffy and I joined in humorously last minute. So we had Hate the 13th doing the run officially, that he was booked for that. And I just posed in the room as we're getting all set up. Do we want to just do this as a 3-man archipelago? And we all generated our own different overworlds, and the reveal stream was a little bit chaotic for that, but it covered a little bit more bases, right?
Right.
It was a great presentation of Archipelago, because that was kind of really starting to take off at the time, and people were starting to wonder, what is this? What's going on? And it was a semi-introduction of Proc Gen with Archipelago at the same time, because it's a fun way to play it.
Which stream was this for people who want to go find it?
That was the week 6. So that would have been the 206 class.
Okay.
Yes.
And that is in the wiki page. So if you scroll down to the 2023, you can see that. I think we probably have all of our seeds linked there. Yeah, that was a great time. It was nice to show off something, especially since if we're looking at the flags from last year, the winter tournament from last year being primarily focused on the 3-orb specific reorb any function, it left a lot of space in terms of design. And so when I'm looking at those flags, we had an all loose, we had an entrance and floor shards, we had a shard hunt monster in a box.
Oh my.
Like those are 3 different reveal streams. And that's like sure, we have something separate for entrance and floor, whatever, but all loose and shard hunt kind of just got rolled into winter tournament this year. And that opened up a class space. And so that's why we have Spellcrafter and Nova World this year.
Okay.
As a graduate from last year's program, I remember every single one of those. I have mixed feelings about the first one that we ran, but we're not going to get into that.
Well,
um,
yeah, I want to take that just a little bit. Like, speaking of Noverworld and some of these other things, we did have one of our mailbox questions. So, like, if you guys want to send any questions for us, there's a link down in the description. There's a link to it on our Discord. But we did have the question, and your guys' answer with it. How do you see these duck flags evolving to help some of these newer flags, like the Noverworld or like the Spellcrafter? What are some things that we can do, that you can do, that just the ducks can do to get better at those higher level flags?
So I want to start out by saying we started doing occasionally, and we kind of fell off with this. And, that just sort of happens. But we had a few deep dive streams where we just talked about flags, specific flags, and how to consider them. So we had one for Spellcrafter, we had one for alternate fiends, alternate final boss. So those are ways to kind of get a little bit more information than you're just going to see in the documentation. The other thing is, if you see it, try it. And
it's hard for me.
there's a life lesson rule that I keep, which is the first time you try something, you're not going to like it because you don't understand it. The second time you kind of get it, and it might be getting enjoyable, and the third time you have a better feel for it. That's probably where the enjoyment's going to come in. So give it more than 2 times, maybe spread them out a little bit, but don't burn yourself out on any given thing, because the only way to play this wrong is when the seed doesn't generate or you don't enjoy yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
I also don't think it's like the worst idea if you're really learning how to play and you want to try something new. Try clicking the save on game over function. Like, it's a really nice fail safe to, getting murdered in a dungeon, like, trying deep towns out and getting 9 layers deep in Ice Cave, before you can come across a town. There are some hard game modes that can really kind of be mitigated for a casual playthrough with that save on game over.
Oh, yeah.
It's not exactly, for tournament based, it can be a little bit different, but if you're just learning to play and just want to try something new, try that. It's a little layer of security and it's fine.
Yeah. Give
So
yourself some of those
to
security.
Guardian Marcus's comment real quick, I can assure you that Spellcrafter and Noverworld are 200 level classes because the split is competitive race flags are Sunday and fun, casual flags are Wednesday.
Okay.
Yeah, get ready.
Like me personally, I love No Overworld. It's one of my favorite flags to run, believe it or not.
I still need to practice it. I haven't ran one yet.
It's interesting. It's interesting. So, so you guys have been running this for a while now, and I personally, as someone who ran the program last year, I know how the Ducks just keep getting better and better and better every year. Like, they are getting very, very good. How you guys feel about this upcoming class? I know there are some real tough competitors in there.
I'm always looking to see who's choosing to put in the practice to develop, right?
Yeah.
And I mean that should be no surprise given the head games against Fizzle, right?
Yeah.
Yes, that is true. That is true.
So one person that I'm looking out at quite a bit is Windfox 470, because as I recall, Windfox is getting like some mentoring from Fryteeth, and is also just putting in the work, putting in the practice.
That's
and we've had a few runners that have done that in the past, like Rich Bork, who he put in so many practices and identified things that I would never have thought of, like pre-moving as you do screen transitions, right? It's because you can lose like half a second to a screen transition if you're not thinking about what the next map is and which direction to go. So he drilled the crap out of that. And he was seeing literal minutes come off of his time because of just that. And, so I look for people who are putting in that sort of work. And then there are a few that I've seen just relatively unfamiliar names coming in, relatively new names, and they're just putting up times.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, that's very true. And-
Felisan is one.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep, yep.
The real trick there is so she's in the EU, and so
Yeah.
making sure that we have like
Mm-hmm.
an actual time she can join the races.
Right.
Absolutely.
We're thinking about the Saturdays and Sunday options and seeing what works there and the scheduling. So
And I believe in my class we had peasants, and he's in Australia.
Yeah.
yeah,
So
Yeah.
that one was rough for him. I am sure.
Mhm.
current Duckling
And-
Supreme.
Yeah.
As
Currently
Yeah,
won
and-
that
yeah,
thing last
and-
year too. Yeah.
Yeah, and he kicked the crap out of me.
Yeah,
Peasants
he-
pretty good though. Like,
Pe-
you know, no
Oh, yeah.
shame in that.
No, not whatsoever. I will always remember the top 4 from my class. It was a good year, but
Mhm.
well, I guess that's the thing, because that actually
Mm,
one of our questions was about something that surprised you or taught you something. And
Yeah.
Saracen, you just said it perfectly right there. Rich teaching you that you could save a bunch of time just by pre-inputting your inputs.
the other one that I've brought up in the past is Ravioli taught me some time ago on a Chaos Rush seed that I posted for a weekly. He
Mhm.
stomped everybody that week
He
because
went, yes.
he had a Lich 2 grind and he cut like 5 minutes off of everybody else's time.
What?
Yeah.
Yep, I remember that. I remember that very well because Ravioli was also in my class. He graduated the same year I did.
Sheesh.
Yeah, I remember that because I was like, "How did he get that time?" And then I scrolled up, and yeah, I just went in and just killed Lich like 15 times. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's such a
It works.
giga brain thing to think about. Like, you know, we've done I've seen in like a Chaos Rush, Chaos Rampage, like a Topher grind like on the first floor there with worms.
Mhm.
But I've never seen a Lich 2 grind. Like that was some interesting thinking.
Yeah. So, do you have anything, Luffy, that you've seen over the last few years? Something that a Duck's taught you, or just something that you hadn't thought about?
I mean, like Saracen said, a lot of these people they come in out of nowhere. You know, like Scar has been around the last couple weeks that just, you know, putting in these really great times that, you know, how long you guys been sitting around lurking in the Discord to be able to put in these times already? Like,
Right.
I want to know. I lurked for a couple months before I started trying to do any kind of racing. So, there's just some really competitive people out there, and it's good to see because the Duck program is really it's a good way to learn the randomizer, but it's also a good way to kind of like make connections and make friends too. So if this Duck program has taught me anything, like I still talk to more than half of the people from my class, and we're all still around. Like I do co-op with one of them. We do Fall League together. We have group chats together. Like a lot of us got each other through COVID and kind of got us through what the world was the last couple years, and we still keep in touch. So to be able to make some connections that were not just in a game level but also lasting friendships has been really great to see.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to take us from a heartfelt, you know, thank you with that to our next mailbox question. So, you know, hold on to your pants here. Which legendary sword do you think tastes the best?
Ooh.
it's a tough
Was
question.
this submitted by Eat My Steel? Because I'm really curious.
I don't think we had one for that. I don't think there was a submission on that
No.
for a name, was there?
But there was. I did not write them down here just this time.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Which legendary sword tastes the best? They're thinking about this a little bit too hard.
Yeah, I think it's got to be. I was thinking Vorpal was the first thing that came to mind. You know, the
There.
Vorpal, you know, gets no credit. It gets, you know, pooped on quite a bit from time to time, but it's a great sword that crits a lot. So I feel like it's got to be, you know, really tasty in a way.
I like that
Seriously.
answer.
I mean, if we're going with the whole idea of, you know, the Vorpal crits because it's the D&D Vorpal and it cuts people's heads off on a nat 20, then it does seem like a good sword for butchering, and you know
Yeah.
that means it might have a meaty flavor all over the blade.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always been a fan of the Vorpal. I will always be a fan of the Vorpal, so I love those answers. We got another question from the mailbag. Magic discussion.
Yeah.
we questioned about using spells beyond your basic elementals, fast, temper, ruse. What do you guys think? Like other spells that might be something that you'd.
What's the use for mute? What's the use for exfer? What's the use for some of these other spells that we skip over a lot?
Oh man, so
okay, yeah.
talking about X people don't skip over that when they're playing high scaling flags. That spell is too good.
Yep.
It's just everything dies too fast to bother with it in duck style flags where I don't put the scaling too high. Mute is fantastic if you have the surety that it will land. And so it can be really good against carry if you don't have confuse. It can be good if you have set RNG and you know that such and such will happen. I want to shout out Fog 2, the much maligned little brother of Invis 2.
Fog 2 got me through an archipelago seed that I would not have been able to make it through the scaling if I did not have Fog 2 axes. So shout out to Fog 2.
I have seen dives of ice saved by Fog 2 more times than I want to admit. And it's because oh, hey, it's an unrunnable pack of wizards, and I've got my white mage and my thief up, and my thief can only punch. I have no offensive magic left, but I'm 5 steps from the exit. It's faster for me to just punch this down. And if I fog two or three times, they just can't hurt me.
Yeah.
It's one of those spells. A lot of people sleep on fog too. I've seen it in the shops and be like, do I really want this?
It's not invis. Do I really want it?
But it definitely has a use depending on the scaling for sure. The higher your scaling is, the more crits your bosses are going to do, the harder they're going to hit. So don't sleep on that, especially if you have, a situation where, that's level 2 and Invis 2 happens to roll level 8 and your white mage had an innate magic bonus and you can't get Invis 2. So, it's the poor man's Invis 2 that'll give you just enough defense, especially if you have some good absorb on your party to give you a little bit of survivability that you might lack otherwise.
Yeah. So Bobby asked
coming in with a question about the instant kills. Zap, I'm the biggest fan.
I love Zap. It's a great spell. The accuracy is terrible, but boy does it do a lot of work
when it lands.
Well, nothing but chaos resists it. So you're getting decent odds on all sorts of things. It can take out a pack of man cats.
Sure can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. And
it could take out iron goals even in I've seen it done.
Yep.
And back in the older days of Rankilo and Iron Goal games, I remember Bert won a race because he took a Zap man cat grind in an entrance floor seed with high scaling. It was gross.
Wow.
It was so gross.
That does sound like a Bert thing to do, though, to be honest. Early Zap can help you out a lot. Early Zap will clear a swath through the game.
Yeah.
What about Rub, though? We never really use it. Like, you go to Bane, you go to Brack. What about Rub?
I have such a disdain for that spell. It was either an Iron Goal or a rank race from a couple years ago, and literally the only spell that you had in the first 4 levels that did anything was Rub. So I had to take an ogre grind outside of Elflin using Rub for about 40 minutes to get any kind of gold, to get armor, to get through a terrible marsh cave. So Rub can just never exist, please.
Yeah.
So out of all these kills, leave it away.
Leave it away. Yeah.
It's terrible accuracy, and it's the worst element of them.
Right.
And anyone that's played the vanilla game always remembers the first time that you popped in and talked to Astos and he wanted to kill you. The first thing he did, Rub, fighter, dead, run. You got to reset.
Yeah.
Those are the old days.
Well, I do want to change it now. We talked about the insta kills, but any use for stone or pure? Sorry, soft or pure? Or do you rely on the potions?
soft as a spell is wonderful if it's cheaper than the actual soft potions.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. If you have soft potions that roll like 1,000 gold and you have soft at level 2, then you just buy that. You really only usually need anywhere from 3 to 6 softs to get through a game anyway, which if it's a high level of magic or a low level of magic, whatever, either way, you can have pretty easily. And those soft potions can roll quite high from time to time where you cannot afford many, if at all.
Mhm.
Pure, on the other hand, it's fine, but you can usually, hammer about 20 of those out before you even leave Corneria. So is there some use? Yes, but the potions are much easier use, I think, in that situation.
Would you ever think about like grabbing them? Let's say like level 2 has nothing, but there's a pure on it, and it's like 100 gold, maybe, or just save it and wait.
I wouldn't go for pure.
Yeah,
Just-
probably not.
Pure, it doesn't have very high value to me.
Mhm. I mean, on the other hand, I see in the chat somebody mentioned lamp. I would absolutely buy lamp.
For the
Lamp
memes or
with
for the dark
improved
penalty?
Dark flag turned on.
Both. The lamp is a spell that if improved dark is on can save your run.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, winter tournament.
We learned that in the winter tournament.
Yep.
And that is a flag that has become divisive. I would
Yeah.
Very,
That's the
very,
nice way
very
to
much
put it.
so. Yes, it has. So then I guess we can come to the conclusion that probably the worst spell in the game is sleep.
It's terrible. Sleep
Yeah.
is a dumb status. You don't want
Yeah.
to use it as a player.
It is not. No one ever buys it because it is not helpful.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
I've used every spell in the game at least once. I've even used mute and rub. I don't think I've ever bought sleep, ever, in the hundreds of seeds I've run.
Well,
A couple people
continuing
apparently are
out
popping in.
this- Yeah.
A couple people are saying in chat that it has its uses. It does,
Yeah.
but I still wouldn't spend money on it.
Yeah.
But to finish down this conversation, what about the A's? Would you go A rub? Would you go
Nope.
A lit? Would you go A5? Like any
All right,
use?
A-Rub has a place, and
Yeah.
it is a terrible one, and don't go there.
We were just talking about these spells the other day, you and I feel like, Saracen, where this was
So-
brought up.
And this is going to come up when we get to Spellcrafter in
Right.
a couple weeks. But there are alternate A spells that are actually good in
Yep.
Spellcrafter
Mhm.
that are worth buying.
Yep.
And like A Magic, where that one covers the primary 3 damage elements.
Mhm.
That's a good spell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a infant version of a Suna or something back in the day to kind of protect you.
So hopefully that was enough of the magic conversation for some newbie runners out here. So there you go. Never buy sleep, never buy rub, and good luck on everything else.
Don't sleep on Zap.
Sleep
Rub
is-
is only worthwhile if it is the only black magic spell that can do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fine if you have to buy it, but you better hope you have a melee that's swinging something.
Level 1, get through Garland, go check out Provoca.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
for sure.
Fear's the worst.
Oh, we got the
Okay.
Nintendo Power reference in chat.
Oh, that's
I-
not true. I remember there was a race once. It might have been a Platy Party race or like a Saturday night get together for rank. I think it was either Gouda or it was oh man, I think it was Gouda that he or was it Dengwu? It was Dengwu. He made Lich 2 and Carry 2 run away with a fear axe.
Yeah.
So don't sleep on fear.
I mean,
Fear
come
is
on.
hilarious.
If you watch the TAS run, you can see a white mage make Chaos run away with Fear.
Yeah, that's
Hey,
also true.
we changed it to Hug.
Oh, yeah, it was fun. I'm sorry.
Of course we did.
Oh, yay. Well, take us
So-
back to some questions here. Yeah. We kind of
Yeah.
skipped one here. What do you guys
did.
see with the duck program going on in the future? Like, where do you see this thing going?
I am first and foremost going to say I am so happy that so much of the community wants to step up and help.
Yeah.
And that has been a huge weight off of my shoulders this year. Because last year, I burned myself out so hard. And I was afraid that it was going to happen again this year. And then I was able to get guest runners for, anything and everything. And we've got restreamers already offered up. in advance, and like everything is just so much smoother when we have extra volunteers
Oh, yeah.
helping. And
Mhm.
I love you all.
Yeah. It's a really just fun thing to do too. You get together with a couple of friends who, probably came into playing this around the same time as you,
Mhm.
and you kind of show off things that you've learned and kind of just try to teach these newer runners something that, can hopefully help them. Yeah, a lot of people that have been around this community have helped me learn how to run, and I just wanted to be a part of just being able to show people how to do the same thing. It's a great game that we played as kids, and it's still a fun game to this day. So, I mean, I hope that the program sticks around. I see no reason why it wouldn't.
Yeah.
And we'll see how things grow from here. We kind of consolidated, I think, the last couple years down to one derby / boot camp a year. Two was just kind of too much. And the content has really kind of been streamlined by Serisan in the last few years to kind of really get things a purpose. Each week has a theme. Each week has a purpose to teach you something to kind of get you to maybe, if you want to be a competitive race setting, great, but also just get you to be casually be able to play this and just have fun. And that's kind of the whole point.
Another
So-
thing that's been really nice is the VOD reviews coming in. At like, I have nothing to do with any of those, and that's again, I love the community for stepping up and helping and wanting to do more is
Yeah.
really nice.
Yeah.
And I know there's been talk about potentially some sort of mentorship
Mhm.
side program, just like potentially a second derby without a boot camp potentially. There's been that floated as an idea, just so that we can get more people to have that early exposure to racing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things that's really hard, right? Like by cutting the boot camp and derby cycle down to once a year, that helps a lot because you're not running boot camp and derby for literally half the calendar.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
We're at 11 weeks, right? Like that's
Yeah.
a big commitment. And in years past, it was 8x1 for the boot camp, 8 weeks, one class a week. And then it was 8 weeks, two classes a week. And then that was realized it was too thin and too long. And then we cut it down to 6, right? But at that point, it would have been 13 weeks.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
That's a quarter. That's
Yeah.
an actual quarter of your calendar.
Right.
for
Times
one
that
week.
by 2, and you're looking at half the year, like Saracen said.
Yeah.
So.
And this calendar is thick.
It's packed. It is packed.
So
lacking for content, we are not.
No.
So what ends up being this conundrum then is how do we get people into racing in a new player friendly fashion without taking up literally half the year? Because we want the Ducks to have a Duck focused period, right? We want new players to come in and feel like they have a good time to learn and engage and pick up the game, really. Because racing is, I think, at least historically, it's been a very important part of the community, and we see good turnout in the winter tournament and all that. But it's hard to get people to commit to it when they feel like they're just going to come in and get stomped, right?
Yeah.
So getting those new player experiences, getting more casual-ish races, like, pickup races in Race Org, we don't see a lot of them now that winter tournament's done and we're in the Duck times, but we're going to start seeing some stuff pick up probably as Lithuanian League picks up. And how do we get people from Duck to Lithuanian League?
Right.
How do we get people into Fall League and Bingo and all of the other stuff that we do? That's really the trick of it. So
Well,
the idea of that second tournament is really cool. It's just now we need to figure out exactly how we're going to get that into the calendar.
You were talking about mentorship or something, and like we don't need to even have an official program for it. I know plenty of people around here who's just like, hey, would you mind helping me out for a little bit? And they would jump in an instant and just like, hey, let's walk through a seed. Or you called out the VOD reviews and stuff. Just, hey, post in the VOD review channel and say, what did I do wrong? Or why did I come in an hour behind everyone else? And there's so much knowledge in the Discord.
Yeah.
Yep, a lot of great people in the Discord that are more than willing to help out new runners, and it's really, really good to see. Well, gentlemen, I am going to basically give a plug out to two things, and then we're going to get to the pulp questions. This will be fun. I would like to say that the Duckling Asyncs, they are still out there. I highly recommend that you guys run them. It's a great way to get some practice in. As Luffy pointed out, how many people have been lurking on the server until they actually show up and start racing. I was one of those lurkers. I lurked around for about a year and a half before I even decided to do the Duckling program. I had the Duckling title, but I didn't do any racing. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go in. I'm going to get trounced, and that'll be the end of it. And it's like, no, you're fourth. Congratulations. You can't come back. Like, great. I can't get the title now. Thanks. But that is a perfect transition to the next thing. The Platy Party is also coming soon, and I'm looking. I see a lot of people looking for that. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a great time.
I'm so
blind
scared.
flags. It's going to be nerve wracking. That's for sure. But blind flags, you're going in.
At least we have the
being
theme
fair,
this year.
only 2 out of the 3 are
True.
blind.
Yeah,
Because
True.
we already know what the third one is.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is true. We do know that.
We have a benefit there. We made those flags.
We do. We made those flags. We did.
Yeah.
Dang it, we
Alright,
made those
now-
flags. I know what's in
Hey,
there.
we did. That might not be a good thing for us. Let's be honest here.
Yeah.
All right. To our two honored guests, it's time for the pulp. That's right. Every guest we have on here gets to do the pulp questions. So I will ask them, and Serisan, I'll get you first, and then Luffy, I will get you. So first question: black belts, yes or no?
I mean, from time to time, on occasion.
To maybe, not a hard hate. Luffy.
Yes.
All right. Vorpal or Katana?
I gotta say Katana because I played Thief almost every single
I knew I liked him.
All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Katana
by the
as
way.
well. The thief is in my party 95% of the time. So
All right, so
Katana.
I'm putting Oslotto off stream now. Bye.
Yeah. Well. All right. White mage or red mage?
White Mage.
Oh boy, Fizzle. I'm sorry, White Mage.
Ooh, double white. Wow. All right. So this will be an obvious one for at least one of you. Fighter or thief?
Thief.
Thief.
Okay. Yep. All right. What is the worst thing you can see on a world? Proc gen, deep dungeon, no overworld. What's the one thing you're like, oh, come on, I don't want this.
Are we talking any flag in the rando or just map edits?
Just world changes.
Yeah.
Okay. If it's anything remotely competitive, I don't want proc gen.
Proc gen. Luffy, what do you
Oh,
say?
I'm gonna say no overworld because it just confuses me.
Okay. All right. Now this is a fun one. What is so far your favorite rando addition or change? Like what's one thing that was introduced? Like that's a great flag. I love that. I will race it every time.
All right. So I'm gonna give a lame answer and then a fun answer. Okay.
Okay, that's great.
The lame answer is Trance's status element.
Actually, that's a good answer. That's a real good answer. I like that.
So one, that's actually a flag that I directly just suggested. Somebody was complaining about Trance, and I said, why not make it status element? And everybody's like, huh, that's a really interesting and balanced feature.
It is.
And it has become, I think, a mainstay. I think it's just a good flag. But from a fun perspective, Spellcrafter.
Spellcrafter.
Okay.
All right. Luffy, to you?
Oh, I came in just as this was it's pretty much in every single flag set now in standard, but NPC Guillotine, where would we be without it?
That's a good one.
Back in the dark ages, and a nice runner up to buy quantity.
That's a good one too. You gotta love that.
I came in also as buy 10 was a thing, so we had to get it to where your potions ended in a 9 and then be able to buy 10 from there, because if you had 91 potions, you can't buy 10.
No, you
you
can't.
go over that 99.
All right. Which one is the one you hate to go to? TFCC, TFC Earth.
TFC Earth. That just sucks.
Yeah, TFC Earth, and I'm jaded because I found the floater in there once, and now I'll never skip it again.
Yep. What? All right. What's if you're running a seed? What's your go-to party?
Oh, I don't have a solid go-to anymore because I pay way too much attention to Blursings,
Mm,
but I tend to lean on Thief Rainbow quite a bit.
Okay.
Thief Rainbow. Okay.
Like Saracen said, depending on the blursings, it could really change. But I would say Thief Fighter, Red Mage, Black Mage.
Okay. Marsh locked or ordeals?
Where are you going?
Ah, all right. There's like sub questions to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is. But I've just off top of your head, if both are open to you, where are you going?
Ordeals.
Okay.
Ordeals.
Ordeals. Yep. All right. Fair enough. How do you like your sky fourth floor?
With a maze.
Which way?
Vanilla.
Which
Vanilla,
way?
please. Left and up.
That's it. Left, and up. Okay.
Mhm.
And
If I can convince people to take the sky maze and get lost in there with me, that's the ideal. But I let my hands do the work. I don't even think about directions when I'm going in there. I think I end up doing up and right a lot. My hands do it and I get there.
all right. That's interesting. What's one thing that you would like to see added to the randomizer?
One thing added to the randomizer. Well, I mean, I just put a flag suggestion into the dev channel before we started.
That's
You did?
brilliant,
Didn't
by
even
the
see
way.
this.
But I have a different one. I have a different
Okay.
one, and it's
Okay.
been nagging me for years at this point. I may still have the image I made of it, but it's one that puts a little bridge in Elfland between the level 3 magic shops,
Ah,
so that you can
okay.
go right over that little stream.
Okay.
That's a good one. I like that. That's new and good. Luffy, what about you?
Oh, I think we were just kind of, talking about this as well with the floaterless sea the other day. I'd love to see a dock by the on the north side of that river to Melman. I think that would be quite amazing.
That's the flag suggestion I dropped in dev before we
Yeah.
It's
started.
beautiful. That's a beautiful thing. Like that could change a lot of different routing decisions because we really hammered on that Matoya dock that day about how that's a thing that you should use. So imagine if there was a second dock on the north side of the first continent there that you could really get to. Like that would be awesome.
Pickle shouting out the Luffy dock is.
Yep, Pickle's pointing out the Luffy dock.
Oh my god, I'm never gonna live that down.
I like
man.
Will
We
Bloodworth's
still
idea
won.
there.
Oops, all docks.
Every
Oh
shore
my.
is a dock.
Everything's you can park wherever you want.
That's
All right.
crazy.
Next question: history behind your username.
It was my first World of Warcraft character back in 2005.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Oh man, I'm a nerd. I'm a One Piece fan. Let's go, Luffy's the goat.
That's totally fair. All right, now time for the final pulp question, which is different for every single guest. So, Saracen, as a fellow member of Bubble Soda Company, I have to ask, what's the best flavor of soda?
Ooh. Sometimes it's hard to get the fishiness out of the carbonation, right? Like
It is.
that's a very tricky thing, but the orange cream does an excellent job of masking that, coming out and being its own strong flavor.
That is very true. That's a great answer. That's a great answer.
Mm.
Luffy, we have to ask, what weighs more, a witch or a duck?
Ooh. What weighs more, a witch or a duck? Well, the weight of the world would be on the duck's shoulders right now during the boot camp, right? So let's say the ducks.
There we go. And there you have it. There's your pulp questions from both of our guests. That was
That was good.
That was great. I mean, gentlemen, I again I have to thank you both for being on here. You gave a lot of great information, great time.
Yeah.
We will be right back after this word from our totally not the same sponsor as last week.
I don't know what you're talking about. Bye.
Hello, I am Princess Sarah, coming to you with a message of hope. Every day, countless werewolves are sent to the fourth dimension or Noon. As the founder of Werewolves for Hope Animal Temple, I am asking you for your support to help these poor creatures get the respect they deserve. Did you know that werewolves can regenerate and that they don't always poison when they bite? For just 15 gold a month, you can help. Your donation will go to a light warrior in need so they will not have to brack these beautiful creatures. Please join the cause and help keep the werewolves safe. Thank you.
All right.
There we have it once again. Princess Sarah helping out those werewolves. So, the last time we skipped our rotating segment because we had nothing to talk about. But boy, do we have something to talk about today. Jay, did you see there's a new patch out? We're up to 4.7.10.
10. I saw. So the big thing I saw in there was there's a big super secret.
There is a super secret in the randomizer.
We're not going to spoil it, but oh my, we found it last night and we're like, oh.
Yep, it is out there. You can find it. It is out there. I encourage everyone to try to take a look around and see if you can find it. I will give one little hint. It's very obvious once you find it. It's obvious. You will not miss it.
You may have to play around with the flags a little bit to find it because it may not be one that you'd run naturally. But if you run it, you will notice immediately.
Absolutely. You took the words right out of my mouth. I will also add that there was also a shop fix that was introduced, as well as updates to the archipelago. So there's much better display names for you runners for archipelago. Once again, huge shout out to the devs for all the hard work they do. It's fantastic. Also, huge shout out to the community. The turnout that we have been seeing for our duckling and our async seeds,
it's amazing.
According to Serisan himself, this has been one of the highest turnouts we had in a year and a half with the 101 flag, the 102 being the second biggest. Guys, keep it going. The practice. Remember what Pickles told us last week. Practice, 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 and you may be the winter tournament champion too.
Yeah, so also, just everything going on. Grab one of those flags, grab one of the seeds, come in and play, like we were talking about earlier. If nothing else, jump in there, see how you did, and then ask someone, like, what can I do to get my time up? Or, hey, will you watch this thing back? Best way to get better.
Absolutely. As some of you in the Discord have already seen, July 14th to 16th, it's Rando Marathon. That's right. This is a great thing and a great cause for the Liam Foundation. If you want to submit a run, the link is on the Discord. Guys, we got to make this the best one ever. Like, come on, we gotta, if you can't do a run, watch the stream. If you can, donate some money. It'd be great. We would love to see this be like the June, right?
June.
That's my. Let's see. That's something me and Doug have in common. That's dyslexia kicking you right in the behind.
But we are currently reaching out to other communities. So if you have a rando that you're interested in, if you want us to reach out to a certain community, we have that marathon discussion chat down in the Discord. Send us the community name. Let one of us reach out to it, or maybe you bring it yourselves to that community and say, hey, we have this thing going on. We're looking for all kinds of new runs and anything new to add to it. So everyone and everything is highly welcome.
Absolutely. It's going to be great. Last year's was really great to watch. It was great. So for the rest of the upcoming events that we have, again, Lefanian Ladder, it's still open for people. You can still get in. Ale has actually posted all the seeds, and he has a fun story behind each and every one of them that you can go to the wiki and find out. I've read them myself. I haven't run any of them yet, unfortunately, but they're Ale seeds, so I'm sure it'll be very interesting. Once again, the boot camp is still ongoing, Sundays and Wednesdays. I believe this upcoming tomorrow is the Free Enterprise seed, is it not?
It is. I believe it's Free Enterprise with Sonny Wrath. They're going ahead and running it. So check it out. It's going to be a great seed. Free Enterprise opens up a lot of movement options and a lot of the overworld immediately. So it's going to change up what you do, change up your routing decisions, and probably he'll show us a couple things that you may not have even thought was possible with the randomizer.
Absolutely. And remember, there are still the duckling races. I believe they are Mondays and Thursdays, if I'm not mistaken.
That sounds right.
Good, because I wrote down Tuesday, so there it is again. Yeah, so yeah, Mondays and Thursdays, they're definitely gonna have some racing. Come on out. They're just for fun, but it'll get. I can tell you from somebody who didn't do any racing until he got to the Derby, do these seeds if you're a duckling,
it.
because the nerves will take over really, really badly.
Get the asyncs, or if nothing else, out of the way. That way you're at least going, you're kind of seeing your times compared to others, you're getting out there, you're talking to someone else about the seeds, and then you're going, okay, I can do this. Getting a seed done is so much of just learning the randomizer.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's once you get used to things, it really starts to come together. I mean, take it from somebody who hung around the community for a while, didn't do a whole lot of things, and then decided to just jump in and start racing. Just a couple of races, and you can take off like nobody's business.
Oh yeah. And if racing's not your thing, it's completely great. Fine, go ahead, play it casually. Do what feels best to you. If you want to join us here, like on commentary or on crew, or if you want to learn how to restream, put all this stuff together, just let us know. We've got lots of ways that you can help out. That's not even just like getting on and racing. You just like being a member of the community. We got a spot for you.
Absolutely. I can say again, personally, during the winter tournament, it was like, well, what can I do to help? Well, do you want to do a restream? Well, how do I do that? And my good friend Jay Scheidel right here, he's like, yeah, I'll teach you how to do it. And sure enough, I'm now restreaming all the duckling races.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. It's not as complicated as people will make it out to be. I promise you, if I can do it, you can do it.
Yeah. So come find your place in the randomizer. We've got everything for anyone. So if you're interested in it, we got a place for you.
We do indeed, and well, I mean,
yeah,
Jay, we're about to close the book. We're about to close the book on the second one. Again, we're still kind of evolving and going through this. Again, we always are open to suggestions, ideas. If you want to be a guest, by all means, drop either me or Jay a line. Maybe you want to do an ad read. We still have several people that we could use. I don't have a problem with that.
Hopefully,
our mailbag.
Protect it next time.
Absolutely. And our mailbag is posted in the OJ Power Hour channel. So by all means, if you have a question for either our guests, if you have a question for me, maybe you have a question for Jay, either one of us, we're more than willing to answer it. And hopefully we can get you the answers you need. And Jay, what do we have coming next week?
So a little bit of next week's here. Like I said, we're trying to get different guests on every single week. We've talked to the Duckling Dons. Now it's time to kind of take it to the other end, and we're going to get Shoom Bobby on for some challenge seed stuff. So we just had our easy flags, trying to get our newbies in. Now if you're willing to, or you want to get something a little bit harder, kind of see what some of the more challenging, more puzzle flags can be, join us next week for Shoom Bobby.
Yes, I'm looking forward to quizzing the challenge master himself. I have run several of his flags, and there is a fine line between frustrating and what has he done this time.
Oh,
But absolutely tune in for that. It's going to be a great show. And again, if you have questions for Shoom Bobby, you absolutely can send them into our mailbag, and we will ask him everything that you want to know.
Madness and genius. I love it.
That is typically what Shoom Bobby is. Yes, I totally agree. But with that, Jay,
I think we
made it through another. We made it through another one. So next week we will be back again. That's right. You can still see us again. We'll be back on same channel, same time, new guests, some of the same questions.
Yeah, a couple of them. But hey, thank you guys for joining us. We're out.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.